This audio fiction is recorded for an adult audience. It may contain scenes of explicit sex, violence, and disturbing supernatural entities. Listener discretion is recommended.
Come, lend me your ear, as I speak to you of the macabre, the cursed, the maligned, the malignant, the possessed, and the downright demonic. Bolt all doors, lock all windows. Are you alone? Are you sure? I suggest you check under the bed, carefully, twice. BARATANAC, a new darkness at the world's edge. When all the investigation had been exhausted, Declan headed to the kitchen alone. The distant yapping of the hounds receded down the driveway. It's fine for her, he thought, down the hill surrounded by countless dogs. It's me that's up here in the house alone now, barricaded into my room at night. God help me if she's pissed it off. Later, close to the kitchen window, under the languid revolutions of the ceiling fan, Declan dropped his pen and paused to listen. Tomorrow evening, Barbados is to be struck by another rare storm of unseasonable strength, a sing-song voice announced from the gardener's transistor radio. It is expected to be even more powerful than mid-December's hurricane-like storm, with hazardous conditions. All residents and visitors are advised to stay indoors. Finally, the unseen gardener exclaimed. A smile broke through Declan's troubled face. Finally indeed, he thought, after 10 sweltering days of insufferable, humid tropical calm and burning sun. The approach of cleansing winds held a promise of relief at last, from the heat and, he hoped, the stink. Declan's eyes wandered down to his notepad. He'd picked up his pen and began his unconscious doodles again. He winced. Yet another macabre figure had emerged in his absent-minded scribbles, which themselves approximated childlike storm clouds. It's him, he thought. He gulped like a garden skink. Now the daylight doesn't even keep him out. My last sanctuary. A nearby anole lizard stamped its feet in seeming celebration at the news. A chorus of chirping echoed in the rafters. Declan noticed the lizard's tail was missing, the wound still raw. It too craved an escape from the still air's deathly grip and from whatever had pursued it. He reached deep into the vintage refrigerator. The antiquated machine hummed as he lingered in its open jaws, savouring the chill air. Soon, cold crimson acerola cherry crush cascaded from a carton, filling the glass until it licked at the rim. Drink in hand, Declan squinted through the window at the blinding tropical sun, still high in the sky and ringed by fork-tailed frigate birds. He wandered the house, leaving his laptop open. That damned smell! His hands swatted at gnats as he strode onto the broad middle balcony. Relief came with each cold sip of juice as he soaked up the view. Karmically, a mosquito, legs askance, drank from his forehead. A red pinprick swelled after the bloated bloodsucker's ungainly departure. Declan's eyes swept over the verdant slopes, across the wide, endless ocean, and then settled back on the 3 tallest of the nearby coconut palms. The subtle dance of those 3 sisters, so christened by Vanessa, signaled confirmation of the radio's warning of the approaching weather. The first breeze. The rim of the glass touched his lips as he paused. Is that typing? He turned his ear to a clickety-clack that echoed from deep within the house's interior. Slam! The bullet crack of the bamboo side gate shattered the moment. Declan bit the glass in shock, then hoisted it aloft for inspection. Thank God it didn't break. He listened. The click-clack had ceased. He blinked as the sun shone through the remaining cherry crush like some mythical gemstone. He rushed back to the kitchen, only to find all as he'd left it. As if the scribbles weren't enough, now I'm hearing things, he thought. He turned back to the balcony, where 3 bright coconuts snagged his attention, lined up along the lowest of the nearby steps. Oh my, he murmured. More gifts from the gardener. And maybe survival rations for the coming storm, too. Barefoot, he trod down the mossy-shaded steps. Crouched in the sunlight, he clasped the head of one coconut and lifted it. It was dense, weighty. These will do nicely, very nicely. With the coconut safe in the kitchen, Declan gathered his notebooks and belongings for the beach. In his bedroom, sprigs of rowan and boxwood crunched beneath his feet. He'd picked them in Worcester and Malvern to conceal in Letitia, his capacious suitcase, flying them all the way from England. As did his forebears, he always travelled with protective and aromatic herbs. Declan was vigilant in placing the twigs on the cool tiles at the base of the door. He bent double in the doorway to sprinkle black salt across their leaves. The salt was from Droitwich in Worcestershire, where the most saline water on earth spouts forth. Local folklore said the Romans originated the mines, but he had felt the residual presence of the native druidic priests who long preceded them. Those who declare victory can never erase older truths, he had pondered in Droitwich on a brilliant spring day, as whispers came to him from miniature glades of daffodils, the flowers of narcissus. The remaining tropical sun flooded through his bedroom window as he sprinkled. The eyes of a small nesting hummingbird only saw his silhouette in the doorway. The bird was weak from lack of nectar and had betrayed its natural fears, dancing back and forth through the wide French doors. It even felt safe up in the rafters of the atrium below the circular skylight. Texas fairies, or the messengers of the gods, Declan called those enchanting diminutive darting birds of North America. Their utter absence in the old world imbued a temporary melancholia each time he returned home, missing their magic. Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this episode, then please subscribe. I must leave you now, but do not despair. If you listen to the next installment, the curse cannot harm you, but you must believe. Now pull the blanket over your head and be quiet. You are not alone. Shh.